let's take a look at this piecewise function. H of x equals the line x plus 1 as long as x is less than or equal to 0, and the parabola x squared plus 1 as long as x is greater than 0. So first off, let's talk about the two pieces independently. If I look at just the line y equals x plus 1, it's not going to have any disruptions. If that were all I was looking at, y equals x plus 1, it doesn't have any spots where the denominator are undefined. There's nothing weird going on. The domain is negative infinity to infinity. If I were just looking at y equals x plus 1, it would be continuous everywhere. If I were just looking at the parabola y equals x squared plus 1, we've been graphing those since Algebra 1. We know we could graph that as an upward parabola without ever picking up our pencil. So the only place that could possibly cause a disturbance to our continuity is what number?
0.
0, because that's your breaking number. So what you can do here is the same thing you do with limits. You can simply plug 0 into the top, and what do you get?
1.
And plug 0 into the bottom, and what do you get?
1.
And that means that the limit from the left is 1, the limit from the right is 1, and the limit is actually 1. That tells you there is no jump there. If you get two different numbers, that means there's a jump there and there's a discontinuity there. But if it comes together at the same number, it will prevent a discontinuity, and this graph will stay continuous from negative infinity to positive infinity. So if the two pieces equal the same y value, then you do not have a discontinuity there, just like you actually have a limit there. So we say it is continuous where? Negative infinity to positive infinity. And what are its discontinuities? It does not have any. So we just say none. So piecewise functions are really easy. You just plug in to the top piece and the bottom piece and see if it's continuous at its breaking point. I also want to talk a little bit about trig functions with you. Let's talk about y equals sine of x. Do you guys remember when we graphed sine and cosine graphs way back when? Remember they were waves and they went on forever and ever and ever. Was there ever a disruption to that wave? No. So sine of x is not going to have any discontinuities either. Neither is cosine. But the other four, tangent, cotangent, secant, cosecant, will, because they will have vertical asymptotes. And at some point we'll look at some of those. But as far as sine and cosine go, as long as they're just sitting there in the numerator by themselves, there's no number we could plug in that would cause a disruption. So this guy is also continuous from negative infinity to infinity. And it has no discontinuities. So sine and cosine won't have discontinuities, but the other four will, and we will talk about those at some point. It's just where the denominators equal 0, so you won't have any problems with those.